The age of the earth. How old is it, really? And here to discuss this wonderful question is Dr. Stephen Dill, and welcome to Prophecy Watchers.
Gary, I thank you. This has been...
We're honored to have you. And now, I want to say right up front that Steve's book is called In the Beginnings. And you notice the word beginnings is plural. Deals with the age of the earth as seen in the pages of Scripture. But because Steve has a way, well, he's a very analytical mind, but he makes points that are very, very clear. Let's discuss the first three verses in the Bible and what they mean to you.
Well, first of all, the title is a kind of play on words. Not in the beginning, but in the beginning, because I believe the Bible, if you study it in detail, here a little, there a little, don't just stick in Genesis, read what other parts of the Bible say, you'll discover that the Bible talks about the earth having two beginnings. There was a beginning of time, Genesis 1:1, and there was another beginning, which was a new beginning, a new creation, and that's Genesis 1:3 following. So there were two beginnings. And between those two, there was a period of time that I think, and used to be widely believed, Satan, Lucifer, ruled this earth. And he
you said people used to believe that in this, as when the earth was without form and void, as a very, very long period
of time. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And going all the way back into early Judaism, for example, the Jewish idea of creation was really more restoration.
Yeah.
Whereas the earth had suffered a tumultuous downfall.
Yeah, it's if you read the book Without Form and Void by Arthur Custance, he brings this out. The Targum of Onkelos, which was the most ancient Aramaic translation of the Old Testament, which is probably written around AD 100, 150, so around the time of Christ, a little bit after, they describe that as not just without form and void, the earth was destroyed. They actually interpret it that way. So that means there was an earth, something happened, it got destroyed. The 6 days of Genesis, which were 6 literal 24-hour days, were 6 days of restoration. Sin, judgment, death, restoration.
Now, where does Satan fit in all this? You have this magnificent figure. He was called the anointed cherub. He was placed in very, very high position, and he fell. And you and I both believe that his fall was catastrophic.
Absolutely. Universal.
And universal. Let's go into that a little bit.
Well, I believe, and I'm not alone, there are many, many Christian scholars for hundreds of years who believe that Lucifer had a realm, a kingdom that he was in charge of long before Adam existed. This would have been the pre-Adamic world. Whatever he was doing, he wound up, because of his pride and his beauty and his splendor, rebelling against God, bringing in this rebellion death and destruction. It eventually culminated in death and destruction on earth to the point that God had to wipe out all life. Similar to what he did with the time of Noah, but it was a little different. It was before that. And there was nothing alive on the earth in the interim. So nothing evolved. Everything was dead. So the 6 days were literally 6 days of creation, not evolution. In 6 days, God created everything: grass, trees, insects, whales. And
you believe they're literal days?
They're literal days, absolutely.
Now, the interesting thing about this is that when you talk about these days, you have no room for evolution.
None.
Of any kind.
None.
If you're talking about 6 literal days.
Yeah. And as a scientist, that was the big thing for me, to discover that science proves evolution never happened. It's the most concocted, idiotic.
Well, but I have to tell you that globally, in all the institutions of learning from grade school on
Sure.
up,
I was raised that way.
this is the religion.
I was raised that way.